Hi guys, happy Tuesday and welcome to the morning after. I am Sharleen Joynt, your host. So, as always, I'm going to start off with Malteser's moment of the episode. And of course, a Malteser's hashtag light goals moment is a light-hearted play on a hashtag life goals moment, which is decidedly more serious and I would say long-term in terms of life. Although my Malteser's moment, I always try to think of something lighthearted and then I always end up going for something kind of serious. And in this case, it's Jacqueline's quote. This was quite early in the episode, which she said, "I don't know if I'm falling in love with falling in love." And I loved this distinction, especially on this show, because you guys know I've been talking about this show for years and just how I think the bubble, is designed to make you fall in love with the lead, kind of regardless of who he is. It's more that you're falling in love with love. And so I just love that she was able to not only feel this, but actually say it and have it shown in an ITM. I feel like that was a step for this show. And, yeah, I just appreciate it. I also think it can kind of be applied to real life because I think some people, might jump to conclusions or fall really hard for someone without necessarily having all the pieces to the puzzle. And so they fall in love with the concept of love more so than the actual person. So I loved that. Not that lighthearted, still my Malteser's moment. Okay, this was a different week. 3 one-on-ones. With roses up for grabs on all of them. Normally there's 2 with no roses, and finally a group date. And there were 7 women left at the beginning of this episode, when normally there are 6 in episode 7. I'm going to just plow right through chronologically. Becca K gets the one-on-one. It's about time. I feel like this was, necessary, and it seemed like they felt it was necessary. Becca K had sort of been falling by the wayside a bit in a way that I was not into because I really felt that she was she was one of my early picks. Ari said in a voiceover, "Since that first date, we haven't really built that relationship throughout this whole journey." And I was like, that's not good. I was a little caught off guard that he said that. And luckily, I feel like this date did bring them ahead. But things like Becca K, she confessed that she had a very hard week the week before, that she was in over her head and let it get to her. And it bugged me because we didn't see any of this. We didn't really see her go through this emotional, tough journey. And if she wins, it's okay, but we saw such a fraction of what her experience was. Anyway, undeniable chemistry. I can't take that away from amazing chemistry. So Jacqueline leaves, and I mentioned this on Twitter. This was major deja vu for me. From everything from her girl chat with Kendall, sort of talking about her feelings and sort of planting the seed of possibly leaving, to going and knocking on his door with cameras following her. It's just, there was just on many levels, it was oh, I've been there. I also loved when Jacqueline said, "It's hard to watch other women charge ahead with him." And for my Pretty Pandas readers, at my blog, where I also recap the show, I made a rollerball metaphor last week for that game at carnivals where you roll a ball and you make your horse go forward. And her saying this, watching the other women charge ahead with him, really reminded me of that. Just how you're constantly aware of the other relationships moving, as fast, if not faster, than yours. Obviously, I related to this departure, but my favorite thing about this was how Kendall was shown crying when Jacqueline left. And I appreciated this. It showed the friendships. And I said this, I've been saying this, I feel a lot this season, but I just don't think that they would have shown this a couple of seasons ago, honestly. Okay, so Lauren won. Oh, bye, Jacqueline. We'll miss you. We really will. Okay, Lauren gets her one-on-one. This was huge. I loved Ari's effort with Italian. I don't know if anyone else noticed this, but he was like, "Andiamo" in the car with Becca K. And when he ordering a bread, he was like, "Piccolo" and "Grazie" and "Prego" and all this stuff. And when he was eating pizza with her, he's like, "Benissimo." I laughed out loud when he said "Benissimo." I just think it's really cute that he's making such an effort. Okay, so Lauren, there's the only thing really to talk about on this date is how Lauren's confessed to falling in love with him, and he leaves. And then I loved here the shot of Lauren wiping her tears. She's so poker-faced, but I gotta say, it makes me buy her emotions, for example, when she was wiping her tears, all the more. There is something magical here to this relationship that there isn't with the others. I talk about this a lot in my Flair recap, about the speculation as to why Yeah, Elena is asking, like, where did he go? Yeah, I talk in my Flare recap. My sister had a different perspective than I did, so I'm not going to repeat myself here. But in general, I felt that he was overwhelmed with emotion because it also did catch him off guard because she has been so hard to read. But I mentioned what my sister thought in my Flare recap. Okay, moving on. Sien's one-on-one. So I've been feeling this for a little while now based on the airtime shown between the two of them, but I feel like Ari is super impressed by Sien, as he well should be, because she's extremely impressive. But he's not as passionate about her as he is with the other women. Like, for example, Lauren seems to give him so little, like a fraction of what Sien gives him, like in terms of like interaction and like, you know, that sort of affirmation that she's interested, yet he can't get enough of Lauren yet with Sien. He's, you know, instead in an ITM about Sien, he said, I can tell she really likes me, which that stood out to me, and I didn't really like it that much, but I mean, it was honest, but it's also like, okay, you can tell she really likes you, that's good, but like, what does that mean? Like, how do you feel? Anyway, so yeah, her going home did not feel super out of left field to me, but it was still sad because I love Sien, and she's just like the most beautiful human being on this planet with amazing style. We will miss you as well, Sien. I will say this. I didn't find Becca M's reaction back at the hotel to Sien's suitcase being taken away very appropriate. Tia's reaction was, it makes my stomach hurt. Like, she looked like she was going to vomit. And Becca M's reaction was, oh my God, 2 roses, my odds just went up. And here's the thing, I actually buy that Becca M is super into Ari. I just think that reactions like that are not super flattering because it makes it seem like she's there but just getting further in the competition. Even though that's what is frustrating about that is because I don't actually think she is there to just get ahead in the competition. I think she really likes him. So yeah, I feel like it doesn't represent her properly when she says things like that. Okay, so the group date. Again, this date opens with Becca M talking about the competition and how she said although it's awesome, there's 2 roses for 3 people, and that's pretty good odds. It also means it'd suck that much more to not get one. Again, I buy her relationship with Ari, but saying things like that doesn't do their connection justice. Meanwhile, the way Kendall talks about it, for example, she says, it'd be crushing to not be able to explore that more. And when she's talking about that, she obviously means her relationship with Ari. But gosh, I gotta say, the connection with Ari and Becca is so natural. Oh my God. The way he told her to breathe when she was crying. And then she laughed when he said that. And he said, okay, can I ask you some tough stuff? It was just so like familiar. It's like they knew each other in the real world and not just on TV. It was quite beautiful. It was sad to see her go, honestly. And I will say, I talked about this in my Flea recap, I'm not going to repeat myself, but the conversation about Becca M's age is an interesting one. Yeah, I'm not going to say it. I talk about it in my Flea recap. So he sends Becca M home. This didn't surprise me a lot based on their final conversation. They were on a sofa, and the body language, she was sort of like up at him, you know, and he was kind of it's like he was prepping her. To me, that's what it looked like, that he was prepping her as to what was going to happen. And I thought this goodbye actually felt kind of disproportionate to the time spent showing this relationship in general. Someone asked last week if Crystal's goodbye felt sort of like it didn't really do their relationship justice. I have mixed feelings on that. I don't disagree, but in terms of Becca M's, it was sort of like, okay, well, good luck, you're gonna do great. And it was like, it's like, oh, we've seen every single conversation of theirs almost, and it's like we've seen their relationship grow, and so the goodbye just felt like, oh, okay, it's over then. Okay, so I have a couple of your questions to get to. You've mentioned in your column that the camaraderie between the women has been a strong focus this season, along with more compassionate edits of the women. We haven't seen this as much in previous seasons, so why the shift in authenticity now? I truly think that this show needs to evolve to keep us interested, especially viewers like you guys. Basically, my readers, I think, really sum up these viewers, the ones that want to know a bit what's going on behind the curtain and want to know about that fourth wall. If you read my recaps, chances are it's because I was on the show and you're interested in how that sausage is made. And I think that the show can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again to keep viewers like that interested, truly. And there are more of those viewers than people think. It's not everyone is just buying what they're being sold in terms of this show. So I think that honestly, it's like everyone knows that friendships are made of the show. Social media is proof that they're friends after this show. So why not allow that to be shown on the show itself? Okay, next question. Do you think that in some ways Becca M would have been better suited for Ari than some of the other girls that are still there? That's a tough one. I think that they have a really natural connection. I don't think her age was helping her. In fact, the next question is, if Becca M had been the same personality but was a few years older, do you think she'd still be in the competition? So this is sort of a two-part answer. Two-part question, two-part answer. I think if she were a few years older, she probably would make it further. That said, I don't think that her age alone is the reason why he sent her home. I think that if she, let's say she were 27, so about the same age as the other women, 26, 27, if it were just age, I think he would have kept her, honestly. I think that it's not she's not as feasible long-term, and it's not just because of her age, and I think he realizes that. I just don't see a guy sending a girl home just because of her age alone, if that makes sense. And final question, do you think this will be the last we see of Jacqueline? I do. I personally think it is the last we'll see of her. I think it's tough to make that decision. It's really not taking the path of least resistance. Like, to leave the show like that, take it from me, is it takes a lot of work and some plotting, and sort of, you know, you have to discuss it with the producers. It's a production to do, and I don't think that she would have done it if she weren't pretty darn sure about it, even though she was clearly attracted to him, which was kind of entertaining. All right, you guys, so finally, don't forget to join the Maltesers #RoseGoals challenge. It's at flair.com/themorningafter, and you're already watching the show. Might as well make your predictions. I say this every week, and then you're entered to win some prizes, including a trip to Toronto. So you might as well do it. Enter the Rose Goals Challenge. And thank you for tuning in. Be sure to read my Flair recap this week. I'm pretty happy with it this week. And later this week, my All the Pretty Pandas recap over at alltheprettypandas.com. Thank you for tuning in to The Morning After, and I'll see you here next week. Bye.